Hello friends, and welcome to the coziest of all cozy videos, because this is the fall starter pack video. I love making these videos. I think they're always so inspirational, but also just fun and entertaining. But I wanted to switch it up a little bit this year. I didn't want to just sit here and talk about what I think is part of a fall starter pack. Instead, I want to pack this starter pack with you, or kind of collect the pieces for the starter pack with you. So we are actually going to go ahead and do two things in this video that are a little bit different, but I hope and think they'll be really, really great. First, I've been doodling the last couple days, and I thought it would be really fun to create a fall starter pack that looks like a bucket list, but it's like a packing list, so everything we need to collect to really get into the fall mood. So I have made this cute little sheet. I know it's just black and white, it's not colorful, it's just doodles, but I thought it would be so fun to kind of, one, pack our fall starter pack together, and then also, the second part is surround our senses in fall. And I was thinking, hey, how can we make this a little bit more fall-y? How can we make sure we're really, really embracing the fall season and surrounding ourselves in fall? And I thought, okay, well, one of the best ways to probably do that is make sure each of our senses are being used to embrace the fall season. So this is gonna be kind of a starter pack, and how can we invoke all of our senses to make sure we're feeling fall-y every single day? More autumnally, more in the season. So I hope you're excited. I know this sounds very odd, but I think it'll be really fun. I hope it'll be really fun. So you're gonna pack with me, and we're also gonna talk about how we can invoke each of our senses to really be in the mood. That's what this video is about. So I hope you're excited. I hope you're ready. I hope you have yourself a cozy, cozy drink. I'm drinking a pumpkin spice latte. No, I'm drinking a coffee with pumpkin spice syrup. That's what I'm drinking. And I hope you're cozy, I hope you're happy, and I hope you're ready for this fall video. We're gonna just jump right in, because we have no time to waste to get into this fall season. We're already in September. It is fall. I don't care who says otherwise. It can be 100 degrees. I am wearing a sweater. It is fall. Let's go ahead and jump right in. We're gonna start with the easiest of all the senses, texture and touch. I think texture and touch are some of the easiest things to add into your everyday fall feels, because we can just grab some sweaters or some blankets or some pillows. These things are just to make you feel cozy and comfy, things that are gonna make you feel like you're surrounded in fall. So for example, fall mornings, I think of kind of dewy mornings that are a little brisk and a little cold, and I just want to wrap myself up in a very cozy blanket or a very warm sweater or cardigan. That's the kind of feel I want, but I also want the feel of that sweater or that blanket wrapped around me. So I always love having a bunch of throw blankets. I'm a cuddler with blankets. I love to cuddle with a blanket when I'm watching a movie. Even when it's hot, I'll have it over my knee. But I also love holding a pillow. If you're at home with me and I have a pillow next to me, I'm just gonna be holding it securely to be comfy. That's just how I am. That's how I've always been. I love holding pillows. They just make me feel very safe and secure. So I love having a bunch of pillows around. I love having a bunch of blankets. I get very, very hot, so I generally wear short sleeved sweaters until we get really cold, and then I can wear longer sweaters. But I just get so warm sometimes. But I still love sweaters. I think sweaters are fun. I watched a video about how sweaters and textures are really important, how wonderful the sweater is. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and go into the bedroom and collect our sweaters for our pack, because that is the first thing we're gonna be packing, and some blankets too. So let's go ahead and gather some blankets and some sweaters. Autumn is the season where the wind feels sharper, the cold feels a bit more deeper, and the skies seem to stay darker. However, this just means we get to bring out the softness, the knits, the layers, the sweaters woven like blankets to carry us through these colder days, to wrap us in these warm embraces like we are children being tucked into bed by the ones that love us. Sweaters are decorated blankets we're allowed to carry around all day. Patterned excitement that makes us feel whimsical and fun. Cozy stitches that make us unique and beautiful. Okay, so this pillow and this blanket are still gonna hang out with me because I like it, because it makes me feel cozy and comfy. Yeah. So now that we have our texture, now that we have the thing that's gonna make us feel in the fall mood, now we're gonna move on to sight, because sweaters, I think, can add a beautiful look, but I also want to walk into my room and just feel and see fall. I just wanna see fall all over the walls, and the tables, and the sofa, and everywhere else. So decorations, I think, are really, really, really important for this season. I think the outdoors decorates itself. And as soon as I see those colors start to pop up, those oranges and light yellows and greens, like the really, really light greens and the reds, I know it's fall time. And I collected my first leaf the other day and I was really, really excited. So I have it right here because I wanted to show you how beautiful the colors were. I just love the reds in this leaf and also the greens. So I saw this leaf and I thought, okay, it's time to decorate. So we are gonna go ahead and put together some of our decorations. I think decorations are really nice and lovely and just kind of make the home feel a little bit more lived in. I know there's a minimalistic kind of way to decorating. I am a proud maximalist. I love cozy, comfy things. I love being surrounded by things that make me feel comfortable. So we are going to decorate very, very well this year. There's two reasons for that. One, I am just super into fall this year. I love fall, but there's something in me that says I want to paint my walls fall. I can't necessarily paint them, I'm renting them, but I can go ahead and decorate them. And two, I'm not gonna be here for the holidays. I'm leaving on December 5th, so I need to make sure I'm decorating the apartment as if I was decorating for Christmas, but in fall colors. So that's what we're doing this year. I'm gonna go all out. I haven't decorated yet. I'm still waiting for one more thing to finish decorating, but I can go all out. That's what I wanna do. You don't have to. You can add just small little touches of fall into your home. It could just be a couple colors. For example, your throw blankets or your throw pillows can be a little bit more orangey. That burnt orange color is beautiful, but you can also do yellows and reds or greens or browns. Any of those things are gonna make your home feel a little bit more woodsy and more fall-y. You can add pumpkins, of course. I love a good pumpkin. I think they're always fun, but you can also go to a thrift shop and pick up some thrifted fall decorations, or you can buy new if you want to. I have no judgment against anything you do. I wanted to hang some candles from the ceiling because I'm going for a specific look this year. I'll tell you a little bit more at the end of this video, but for now, I just wanted to let you know, I do buy some new decorations, but I try to use all of my old decorations from years past first, and then I incorporate new ones, or I make decorations. So I've also been making a ton of decorations this year. I'm so excited to show you guys. They're so freaking cute and fun. So I think you can do whatever makes you feel happy. Whatever's gonna bring a little bit of fall into your home, whether that be a ton of fall or a little fall, whatever you think is gonna be best. But being able to see a little bit of those colors definitely makes it feel a little bit more fall and puts you a little bit more into the season. So I highly recommend decorations. So let's go ahead and collect some of them. We're not gonna collect all of them right now, because that's a lot. At least in my home. But let's go ahead and pack up some decorations now too. So let's go find some. Decorating for fall is like inviting the season indoors to play. It's tiny reminders of what this season really is, of warmth, of color, of excitement, of change. Even though the season can feel dark and gray, by adding in these bright colors of leaves and of the earth to your home, it can transition your space into the softest place. These additions can feel odd and out of place, but they can also make your space feel lived in, cozy, and inviting. A place where you can explore new feelings, warm feelings, and feel safe and connected to the season. we're on a roll. Okay, so we have decorations checked off the list, which is connected to sight. We have sweaters and blankets, which is connected to texture. Another thing connected to sight, which I didn't add on this list, are films and movies. I have seen so many starter packs with so many amazing lists of films and movies. I think there are so many great things to films and movies are the same. I definitely meant films and TV shows. There are so many great films and TV shows out there that invoke that fall feeling, the autumnal feeling. There are so many amazing lists out there for fall films and TV shows. I don't want to go too dark. I don't want to go too deep into this area because I think there are so many options that have already been talked about. I hate the fact if I consistently mention them to you and you're like, Melissa, we've already heard these. But I just watched The Dead Poet Society for the first time and I loved it. And oh my goodness, the fall feelings in that movie were just absolutely beautiful and wonderful. We lit some of those fake candles and they were just gorgeous. So I highly recommend The Dead Poet Society. I think there are some other really, really great films out there. Some of the ones that always get mentioned is When Harry Met Sally, You've Got Mail, Knives Out. The shows I can think of off the top of my head is Over the Garden Wall. You have also Only Murders in the Building. You have Wednesday, which I heard is really popular. I haven't seen the second season yet. There are so many amazing shows and movies out there. I'll go ahead and list a couple in the description below as well so you have a few options, but so you don't have to hear me repeat everything that everybody always says. I'm not gonna go too dark I'm not going to go too deep into this unless you say, hey Melissa, can you go ahead and make a specific video talking about shows you highly recommend during the fall season? Then I might do that for you. So I'm not going to go into shows. However, I do highly recommend watching some wonderful autumnal shows and movies during the season because that's definitely going to put you more into the fall season with the sight sense there. Yeah, okay. We're gonna move on to another part that's a little bit still decoration sight, but moving on to senses as well. And I mention that because I have a candle here, specifically in the decoration section, but candles, I think are fantastic to invoke the smell of fall. There are so many amazing candles out there. I do know that not everybody loves lighting a candle, so I highly encourage also still having the ambience of fake candles. I think fake candles are so beautiful. I have a few in my apartment and they're so fun and so great, especially when you're watching some fall movies and fall shows or some like scary movies. I love having a little bit of light on during a scary movie. So I highly recommend some fake candles, but if you have the chance and if you like candles, then I love lighting a fall candle at home. I think fall candles add such a warm smell. It's like a hug in my nostrils. So I highly recommend getting a candle. This one is my favorite one. This one's Pumpkin Toffee by DW Home. I use this candle so often. I have bought this candle I think twice, the big one, and I've gotten the small one. And I'm really worried that DW Home's not gonna have this one again because it's not on sale right now. I don't know if they're sold out or what they're gonna do, but I love this candle so much and I think it smells just like fall. It's like toffee and pumpkin and sweet and salty. It's fall to me in my nose. So I love lighting candles so that way my whole home smells very strongly of like wonderful fall smells. However, if you don't like lighting candles, I also highly recommend opening up the door after a big rain overnight, letting that fresh air in. Then you have the smell of fresh rain, but also the smell of those leaves that are starting to kind of get earthy smelling and woody, and oh, I love that smell so much. I don't live in the woods though, so I don't get that smell, but I do know that smell from my childhood and it's one of the best smells. However, if you are like me where you don't live in the woods and you can't have that wonderfully woody smell in your home, then the other option you have, if you don't want to light a candle, is making yourself some coffee or tea, especially fall smelling coffee or tea, or fall tasting. So I love a great cinnamon tea. I think it's always zesty and tingly on my tongue, but it also makes my home smell so good. I'm also a big coffee drinker. I'm sure you've noticed I drink coffee all the time. I still love tea. I also love chai, and chai is tea. but I also love matcha and all the other drinks. But coffee is my general go-to, and I love also buying a very wonderful fall blend coffee where it smells a little bit more roasty and it also smells a little bit more spicy. So I love adding that scent into my home. It only lasts a little bit, but it's still worth it. Bright early in the morning, you walk out in your cozy sweater, your apartment's full of beautiful fall decorations, and you make your cup of coffee or your tea, and then it smells like fall as well. So we're already on to a good start. But with coffee and tea, there's also cups. We need our cups, and I know that kind of counts as decoration as well, and smell and look. It's all the things, but I do have fall cups here on our list. So let's go ahead and grab some of our cups because cups are very important. But I do want to say one thing about cups. I know, tangent. You don't need specifically a fall cup. You don't need a cup that looks like fall. For example, if you say, Melissa, I can't go out and go find a fall cup, it's okay. I highly recommend finding one cup you like, a cup that you still own, and using that as your fall cup. Using that as the cup you put your cinnamon tea in every morning, or your spiced tea, or your coffee, because that's going to be the cup that you connect to fall, and I think that works beautifully as well. So you do not have to have any fall cups. I unfortunately have a weird collection of cups, and I just keep buying cups. I don't need more cups. I'm the only one that drinks coffee in this household, but I still love cups. So let's go ahead and grab some cups and add them to our packing list. Yes, cups are next. Autumn smells linger like warm embraces. They can be smells of crisp leaves, or spiced candles, wood smoke, or even the sweetness of home in the kitchen. These senses dance around us, tickle our noses, but also evoke memories of warm autumn evenings sitting by a fire, even chilly evenings huddled under blankets, or days filled with baking and cooking for the people we love. The sense of smell can bring warmth and peace, not just to our heart, but in our souls as well. Hey, so we have our cups, we have our smells, we have our looks, we have our texture. I think we're gonna continue on to smell, but transition into taste, because another big smell thing is the smell of baking and cooking. I think both of those fill your home with the most precious and perfect smells. Of course, it's mostly focused on taste, but I do wanna say, if you ever feel like you don't have a nice smelling home, that's a weird sentence. If you ever feel like you can't figure out how to get the smell of baked goods in your home, just bake some cookies. Honestly, that's the easiest way to get the smell of something rich and savory or delicious in your home, is just playing a little bit in the kitchen. So I highly recommend always baking something or cooking something if you want it to smell nice. But to be honest, when it comes to baking and cooking, we're talking about flavor. We're talking about the beautiful tastes of all the spices and richness of the fall season. If you don't know, I started out on YouTube as a baker. So I'm a big baker still. I love baking. I think baking is one of the best things, but it's also expensive. And I'm also a cozy person, and I thought, hey, I want to share my coziness with everybody as well. So I switched over to cozy content, but I still am a big baker. And one of the things I love doing is baking during the fall season, because there are so many spices and flavors and deliciousness. But before we go into baking, I want to talk about cooking a little bit. Cooking is also wonderful. Being able to make a stew or a crock pot or just fried pumpkin is just so delicious. I love a spaghetti squash with a little bit of marinara sauce. Ooh, it's so tasty. It's so, so good. I don't know what it is up with spaghetti squash, but I love spaghetti squash. And I love roasting a pumpkin in the oven as well, because you get the nice, strong pumpkin smells, but you also get to eat it. It's so wonderful. I love cooking because there's always so many flavors, but I love baking more. For example, all the flavors with baking, you can make cinnamon rolls, but you can also make pumpkin rolls, but you can also make chai rolls. You can also make nutmeg rolls. Like you can make so many different types of rolls just out of rolls. Isn't that amazing? You can also make so many different cookies, you can make pies, you can make things out of apples and pears and pumpkin even. There are so many wonderful options with baking. If you ever want recipes, like I said, I was a baker on YouTube beforehand. I have recipes that are lined up in the past if you want to check them out. But I know if you're like me, you're always sitting on the sofa and thinking, man, I have no idea what to cook or bake. I went ahead and put together a Pinterest board of the fall starter pack, savory and sweet. I'm going to put the board down in the description below so you can go ahead and click on it, but it's going to have a bunch of recipes of soups and stews and salads and baked goods. If I forgot something and you're like, Melissa, you have to have this recipe on there, go ahead and put it in the description below, because then I'll go ahead and add it to the list so other people can find it as well. I love sharing recipes, so I think this would be a lot of fun, is to kind of get a recipe sharing situation going on, and then we all know what to cook and bake this season, because there are so many options out there. We just need to find the right ones. So if you want to really taste fall, just pop in the kitchen and add those flavors of fall into your food. So stews, warm stews, ooh, so delightful. But the biggest thing I like to add is my fall spice mix. This is something I make every year. It's my pumpkin spice mix. It has ginger, it has cinnamon, clove, allspice, and nutmeg. So it has the 5 main spices of fall. However, I do want to give you a tip. You can add a little bit of nutmeg into your soups. So delightful, just a little bit of grind, or fresh ginger also into your soups, also really delightful. But really, I use a lot of these spices for baking and I love it so much. I think it's so much fun. So I have, of course, baking on here, I have cooking on here, but I also have my pumpkin spice mix. So to represent food in our baking pack, to represent food in our fall starter pack, we're gonna go ahead and pop into the kitchen and make the fall spice mix. So let's jump in there and get a little spicy. Pumpkin spice is more than just a flavor. It is pretty much the flavor of fall. It is sweet, but also spicy and tangy and zesty. It does not just fill our senses, but it dances across our taste buds. It is the mix that turns everything into fall. This spice mix is home to me. As soon as I have a little on my pancakes or on my toast, I imagine what fall is. I can close my eyes and see the colors blossom before my eyes. This spice mix makes any dish in the kitchen fall. Okay, so we have touch, we have sight, we have smell and taste. The last one is sound or hearing. I thought this one was actually the hardest one because when I'm thinking about the sound of fall, I think about the leaves crunching under your feet, or the sound of the wind in the trees, or the sound of the leaves like dancing across the street. I love that sound. And so I was trying to think of, okay, how can we represent sound the best? And I think the best way is actually playlists. I think playlists are the easiest because we have songs in our head that represent seasons. And for me, there are so many songs that I love to listen to during the season. There are a couple playlists I found on Spotify that I really love. And so what I did is I went ahead and created one big playlist with all of those playlists in one. So I have Melissa's Fall playlist on Spotify. I don't know how to link to that, so if you can find it, awesome. But don't feel pressure of listening to it because there's honestly so many different artists on that playlist. I have Nirvana on there, but also Taylor Swift, but also Billy Joel, Girl in Red, Queen, honestly so many different artists, and not all the songs are going to be your types of songs, but they're songs I enjoy listening to, especially during the fall season. They're either warm, they're either rocky, they're either fun, there's so many different options. So I highly recommend curating your own playlist or finding a playlist that you like listening to. There is Alex Rainbird Music, who I listen to actually quite often on YouTube. They have a dark forest playlist that I really like, and they also have some other really fun playlists. This is the playlist I'm talking about. But I think there are so many amazing options. You just have to kind of find what works best for you. But I went ahead and did like a little phone iPod thingy right here to represent curating your own playlist, because the sound of fall is hard for me to explain, but we all know what it sounds like. We all have an idea of what it sounds like to ourselves. And if you don't, then I recommend going on and finding some playlists and seeing what it sounds like to other people, because that's always fun. Yeah. So these are the senses. These are the 5 senses of us, of course. Touch, sight, smell, taste, and hearing. So those are the 5 senses, but of course there's some things missing, and you probably noticed there's a couple more things on our fall starter pack. Like, we have books and we have crafts. So we're gonna go ahead and add a 6th sense to this, and that's how do we get our brain into the fall feelings. I know that sounds really goofy, but you're here with me. I think you got this. So I want to go ahead and add a 6th sense as how to get our brain into the fall season. And 2 of the easiest ways I can think of is, one is crafting. Crafting is always super, super amazing because you're able to kind of imagine some new ideas, but also look at some really fun ideas. I love making different crafts during this season, so I do a lot of crocheting, I do a lot of painting, but I've picked up a few new crafts, which I'm really excited about, because they're gonna be a part of my decorations this season. So I'm so excited. I'm really excited to show these to you guys. I'm gonna do it in a couple of videos from now, but they're so cute and so fun, and I think they're gonna be a lot, they're just great. So I have some wonderful crafts that you can do at home, but I wanna share some crafts with you as well. So I do a lot of crocheting, like I mentioned, and I do a lot of painting at the moment as well. And these are always really easy crafts to do, but honestly, you can pick up anything that you can think of. You can do paper mache, you can just do doodles, you can also work with clay. There's so many things. So I want to go ahead and collect some of our crafty things to add into our packing list. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we're gonna talk about the last thing on this list. So let's go do that first. Crafting in autumn feels like creating the season with your own hands. Making beauty from fallen leaves and quiet hours, or creating a beautiful piece of art, or maybe crocheting something that looks delicious, or creating something that brings warmth to your heart and maybe someone else's. Okay, so we're almost done. The last thing on this list is books. And the reason I put books on this list is because even though I already talked about books, books are still a very important thing for me, especially in this season, because they evoke so much feeling and spookiness depending on the book you're reading, or coziness. Books are just super, super fun. And I don't want to go too much into books because books, I talked about books in my last video. I talked about my fall TBR list, the books that I'm wanting to read this fall. So I don't want to go too much into different books, but there are 3 books that when I think of fall, these 3 books are the books that pop into my head. So these 3 books are the books that I'm going to be adding to my fall starter pack. So let's go ahead and find those and add them to our pack. Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury is about 2 young boys who live in a small town where a carnival just ends up showing up on Halloween night. Will and Jim are there to confront a sinister carnival leader, Mr. Dark, who offers dangerous desires and eternal youth. This forces the boys to grow up quickly, rely on their wits, and defeat the evil to protect their town. Truly amazing, full of beautiful imagery, and extremely dark, but really breathtaking. The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson is so uncomfortable and creepy. We end up following a group of individuals who are asked to come there to do a paranormal investigation. We follow the main character, one of our main characters, Eleanor, who ends up having a very intense reaction with the house. We end up getting blurred lines between her sanity and the supernatural terrors within the walls. Super creepy, uncomfortable, but so fascinating and beautifully, absolutely beautifully written. I highly recommend, especially when it's close to those dark and spooky nights. Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Raoul is a beautiful graphic novel. This is probably the most light-hearted graphic novel I've ever read. We end up following two best friends who are working their last night at a pumpkin patch, and their goal is to visit every single corner of this pumpkin patch. But our male character is on a goal to be able to talk to the girl he's been wanting to talk to since he started working there. It's truly sweet, truly heartwarming, and beautifully done. So, I think we were successful. We found sweaters, we found crafts, we found decorations, we found music, books, we found our cups, our baking, our blankets, our food, and our fall spice mix. We successfully made sure that all of our senses were activated. We made sure our touch, our sight, our hearing, our smelling, and taste buds are all activated, but also our brain is activated with all of the fun fall things. I feel like this video is super weird, but honestly, it was so fun. And I really hope this brings like more ideas into your brain of how to really invoke those fall feelings and get into the fall mood. I think by breaking things up and talking about how we feel and also how we kind of put our physical selves into these seasons really helps. Because for me, when I'm thinking about fall starter packs, I sometimes think, man, I don't even know how to start, and sometimes I put up decorations, but it doesn't really feel right, or I just don't know why I'm not getting into the fall feeling. So I really wanted to create this starter pack, this fall starter pack, as a way of being like, hey, this is how to really just encompass your whole entire being in fall. To make sure you're feeling that wonderful, cozy feeling, that feeling of just warmth and happiness. And maybe you're not a fall person and you're just trying to figure out, why is everybody so crazy about fall? And this is one of the reasons, because there's really so many warm feelings that surround the season that it just makes you feel like you're wrapped in a hug at all times. I just love the season because it's really just beautiful. And also seeing the leaves changing, seeing the world change, seeing just so many wonderful things. I don't know. I'm actually quite curious, why do you love fall so much if you're a fall lover? If you're here because you're a fall lover, what's so special about fall for you? Like I mentioned, for me, it's the leaves changing, and it feels like almost like a hug to me because of the spices and the smells and just all of the feelings I get from the season. But I'm curious, what's it for you? What do you get out of it? But yeah, this is the video. I know it was super odd. I'm curious as to what you thought about it too. So if you can give me any review or any thoughts or thoughts down below, it'd be super helpful, because this is something very different, and but it was kind of fun too. A lot of running around. I'm very warm now, especially in a sweater, but I really did have fun, and I hope you guys did too. And I'm really excited to see what the season's coming and what we have going on for us. Next week, I promise, will be the decoration video. I promise we're gonna be decorating the entire apartment. Well, not the entire apartment, I'm sorry. It'll be focused, you're standing in the middle of my living room right now. So it'll be focused on the dining room and the living room, a little bit in the kitchen, and my little chair right here. So it's mostly going to be in our living space, and that's the most important part. That's where I spend most of my time. And I also am so excited because I'm going to be sharing some wonderful DIYs, some wonderful crafts that you can work on, and that's going to be in about 2 weeks. So let me know if you guys want to see anything else. I'm kind of here creating and doing what you want to see as well, because I want to make things that make you excited, and you being excited makes me excited, and it's wonderful. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a fantastic week, a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you guys next week on Thursday. Till then, ciao!